It is currently 100 degrees, actually 101 Fahrenheit. I don't know what that is in Celsius. It is hot. It is really, really hot. So the reason I'm outside and filming this video is because today happens to be the full moon in Aquarius, and I feel called to share some things, share some of the struggles that I've been facing and that I feel a lot of people have been facing. And maybe you can relate to this message. Maybe you're on a similar path or wavelength as me, and maybe this is why this has found you. My name is Nathan. On this channel, I share, I impart any knowledge, any wisdom, things I have learned, the struggles I have gone through, strategies and mindsets that I like to share that I believe will raise the collective conscious, will raise the vibration of the collective, maybe will provide those downloads, those insights, whatever you want to call them. I especially specialize in masculine energy, the divine masculine, the sacred masculine, as a masculine myself. However, this message is for everybody. Currently, I'm experiencing what is called my Saturn return. If you're not familiar with a Saturn return, in essence, it's when your Saturn goes into the sign that you were born in, and it takes about between 28 to 30 years. So generally, that's a time where you really question your purpose, you really question your place in life, and there's a lot more involved in that. I'm not really doing that justice. The reason I bring this up is because this full moon in Aquarius, I'm not a astrology channel or anything like that. There's just certain things that I'm studying that have astrology attached to it, so by default I'm learning about it. But the reason I bring it up is because this full moon in Aquarius is about like the rebel archetype, and I talk a lot about archetypes on this channel as well. I'm really into Jungian psychology, psychoanalysis, and stuff like that. So the archetype of the rebel, the archetype of questioning things, of being outside of the box. And right now, honestly, I've been questioning a lot my path, and that's normal, that's natural. But it's in the moment, it doesn't feel that way. It feels difficult. It feels like my boundaries are being pushed, like I'm doubting myself. Even with this channel at the moment, I'm being vulnerable and open about it, but I really question my path, my authenticity. I really question what the purpose is and whether this is the path that I'm sticking with, I'm taking, that if it's the right thing or not, or there's somewhere else that I should be focusing on. And it's funny because yesterday I filmed a video talking about how we all have a purpose and a mission, and once we see it, we can't unsee it. And it's true, I know there is a higher calling, and I don't have to do anything. Like, I don't have to succeed, I don't have to be wealthy, I don't have to do any of those things, but somehow I still feel pulled and called to do work in this direction. It's just difficult because it's like, well, am I doing the right thing? And maybe you're on the same boat. Maybe you're questioning yourself. Maybe you're feeling you're not on that path. Maybe you're feeling scared. Maybe you're feeling doubt about what you're doing. Maybe you are pushing yourself in the right direction and you feel imposter syndrome. It could be a variety of things, right? And there are certain types of personalities that, and I'm going to use some more Jungian type of analysis, like cognitive functions. So there are, feeling types, thinking types, intuitive types, sensing types. If you're familiar with the Myers-Briggs, the Myers-Briggs is based off Jung's concept. So for us intuitive types, which means people that use not like literal intuition, but use like concepts, abstract information to intake everything. So which is my primary mode of experiencing the world, is through intuition. It's actually extroverted intuition, so I see patterns in everything. I see connections, everything. Everything is very expansive and open. That is how I see the world. That's why in this video I'm probably jumping all over the place. It's difficult for me to just tunnel in and like focus on one thing, but it's a superpower and it's a weakness. I notice with intuitive types, a lot of the time there's a lot of loneliness because the majority of the population, at least to my knowledge, is a sensory types, a sensing type. So people who use their senses, of touch and seeing and smelling and taking literally sensory things is how they experience the world. Not the intuitive types don't, but it's not the primary mode of how we take things in. So sensory types will take things in from their experiences, their real life, tangible material experiences. And it's easy to see, right? A lot of people are more in the material world, materialistic, and some people have problems being up here and looking at the abstract and the story and the mythology. A lot of the time they'll be like more, what's the point here? What's the practical thing here? And that's a very useful skill to have. So when I'm talking about intuitive types, I'm talking a lot about my experience, and where I'm going with this is that oftentimes we feel lonely. Oftentimes we feel like we're alone, we're questioning things, and we're often going against the narrative. So in myself, like, I'm questioning myself or maybe doubting, and thankfully, because I've meditated and I'm more aware of my mind and where it goes, I don't really pay attention to it as much. Like, it's not that I don't honor it, it's more that I let those thoughts pass by like clouds on the sky, right? It's the same concept where I'm like, okay, this mind is doubting itself. This mind is feeling negativity. This mind is unsure, uncertain, and I'm allowing it to be that way and allowing it to just flow, not really believing it, not really like taking it in so personally, but allowing it to be. I'm feeling this way. I'm feeling kind of a funk this morning. I check my messages on Instagram, and one of my dear friends, he actually wrote a book. I highly recommend you check it out. It's called Transformation. I'll have a link down below. And I'm reading his book, and I'm telling him, wow, like, you're a great writer. Like, I love your book. Like, it's about him. It's opened my eyes to him, and I'm seeing him in a different way. I'm understanding him better, and the fact that he's sharing himself and his vulnerabilities has really resonated with me. And I wanted to tell him that, like, I'm not even that far in, and I'm just like, wow, like, this is great. Like, it's literally a page turner. Like, I don't want to stop, but I have to go to bed. I have a limited amount of time to do this leisurely reading. So I'm messaging him, right? I don't know if he sensed that I needed this message or something. We're talking here and there, and I'm feeling kind of like funky. And I see this message from him, and it's exactly what I needed to hear, what I needed to read in that moment, like, to a T. And he literally, I'm gonna butcher this because I don't remember exactly what he said. It was like, I feel called to share this, and he shares, a paragraph of like, hey, we're all on this journey. Like, we don't have it all figured out, and it's okay. I'm summarizing it like that, but there's a lot more, and I'm keeping that message to myself. But like, essentially, like, I'm distilling it now for everybody, to see. Like, it's okay. Like, wherever you are, wherever I am, wherever we are, it's okay. If I'm questioning myself and I feel this funk and I feel this doubt, it's okay to feel like that. It's okay to be in the midst of the up and down and be in that struggle. Like, it's fine. Nothing is wrong with you. Nothing is wrong with me, especially those of us that are in our Saturn return, and those even outside of it. Like, there's always going to be a challenge. There's always going to be something that is going to push us, and it's okay to be in that. It's okay if I am questioning my path. It's okay if I almost, like, I don't want to give up essentially, but I feel like down about certain things, and whether I'm doing the right thing, whether I'm focusing on the right thing, whether anyone's going to benefit from this. And I notice the negative patterns, and I can identify from where that might have come, like from my past. I had a very traumatic childhood. I had you could say, a traumatic life for a good portion of it, and I've changed a lot of it. I've become a lot more positive, a lot more empathetic, a lot more open and confident, and like, just a list of positive things. I can attribute myself to those positive things, as opposed to in the past where I didn't feel any of that. I wouldn't be able to have named any positive things except for, like, maybe my intelligence. Him sharing that message made me realize I am not really alone. Like, I'm not alone. Here I am at work. My coworker, he's more of a friend than a coworker, really. I'm not alone because he cares about me, and he shares all this stuff with me, and he gives me things, and he trusts me. And yeah, our relationship might not be perfect. My relationship with nobody is perfect, but it doesn't mean I'm alone. And he might experience the world differently than I do, and we might have different opinions, but there's still this love and unconditional love between each other, between the people that I have in my life, and I'm not alone. I know a lot of introverts, a lot of intuitive types will feel alone in this path, and maybe you don't know anybody that's like you. Maybe you don't have anyone to relate to. Maybe you have friends, but you still feel that nagging feeling, like you can't really talk about the things you want to talk about, or you can't open up about the things that you want to open up about. But you'd be surprised when you do what happens. And that's why I push myself to make these videos. That's why I push myself to make community. That's why I push myself to really, like, put myself out there, even though my first instinct is to be a recluse and do what I've always done, which is close up. That's been my initial reaction, is like, close up. I start to feel tension. I'm like, nope, I don't want to be vulnerable. I am a sheet of ice. I'm cold, I'm frigid, and I'm not going to open up. It takes bravery It takes courage, and it takes real effort to like expand, to be okay. And even if someone rejects you, even if it's not the right person, the right people, be okay with it and move on from that situation and attract the people that are your people. And even if they're different, even if they're sensing types or don't think the way you do, there's still beauty in that relationship. It's still unique. There's something that's helped me a lot, and I've been using it actually the past week. I've used it. It's basically the law of assumption. Like Neville Goddard created the law of assumption, or at least named it that, which is like you assume a truth, you assume something, you assume a belief, and then it comes true, right? Like what is our beliefs colors our world, and we could see that in so many ways. But now it's like I assume that this person wants to help me, and maybe that sounds kind of weird, kind of cocky, but really, like, genuinely, I've started doing that more and more, and more conscious of that. Like, hey, like, my initial reaction is this unworthiness, that nobody wants to help me, that I have to do everything by myself. I'm that type of guy that I've always done things by myself. I've not wanted to reach out, even when I was in class with the teachers. Let's say, like, usually, like, I pick up on things pretty quickly. I generally didn't need help. But when I did, I was like, no, I'm not going to ask a question. I'm going to wait for someone else to ask a question. My life would have been way different if I did have the balls to fucking ask a question that I needed to ask. So I've changed that mentality consciously by assuming, hey, like, I need a ride to, like, the mechanic, because obviously I need to pick up a car and I need a car to get there. So I'm going to assume that my neighbors are going to help me. And I did that last week. And the thing is, that sounds so minor, but to me, like, me as who have been as a person for most of my life, this is something so new. I've never asked my neighbor. I've never called them and be like, hey, can you do this for me? Like, genuinely never. Because I never felt worthy of it. I felt like, why would they help me? Like, I'm burdening them, and these feelings of being a burden and unworthiness and whatnot. And what if they say no? They're gonna say no because, like, you really think about it, and it's like illogical. Really, like, you start to be like, well, why would they do that? They like me. Like, we've been neighbors forever. Like, I talk to them all the time, and I would do the same for them. If they asked me for a ride, and they have before, I would do it. Like, it wouldn't be a problem. It wouldn't be a burden. They wouldn't be in the way. They could. I had to wait a bit, but they did, and they gave me a ride. And I wanted to give them gas money. It wasn't far, but, as courtesy, like, kind of like a gesture. And they're like, no, it's okay. And normally I would fight someone on that, but that time I took it. And I've started to learn how to take gifts, how to take people helping me, going out of the way to help me, to give me things, especially with the feminine, especially with women. I've noticed that in my dating life and in general with other women, I like to take the lead role. I like to do, things for her. I like going out of my way and making sure everything is okay. But I'm learning how to say yes to their gifts, yes to them making me food, say yes to whatever it is they want to do for me. Like, I don't always have to be the lead, the man, right? I don't always have to pay. If they want to give me something, why am I going to fight them on it when they want to give me something? They want to show me their love in their way. I'm not going to deny them the gift they're giving me. It's a beautiful thing. So I let them give me that. I let them give me an experience that I hadn't had before. I've been doing that more and more. So for us, lonely types, or anyone who relates to what I've been saying so far, really start to assume that people want to help you. Because generally, people do want to help you. People are willing to help you. And maybe there are some that won't. But you're not going to die if they say no. Like, you won't know until you ask. You won't know until you reach out. And I get it, because some of us have been rejected. I mean, it comes from somewhere, right? It comes from a wound. But when we start to really go out of our way and be okay with a no, be okay with a rejection, and because you will be okay, because I will be okay. We will be okay. It really starts to grow something, and it becomes more natural. And people like giving. Like, don't you like giving to your loved ones? Don't you like showing your love in different ways, in action, or however it is you show? So why would you deny that from someone? If anything, you start to grow a mutual relationship. You're not cutting it off. It's been shown, and I don't remember the study or anything, but when people do a favor for you, they really will like you more. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. I'm like probably butchering the study or whatever it was, but I remember vaguely this notion that when you go out of your way to do something for someone, in our brains we have to think, well, I like this person because I did something for them. So it's like a great thing to initiate. So in the end, like, to summarize this video, is it's okay if you're questioning your path. It's okay if you're confused, you don't know where to go. And it's also, if you feel lonely, it's like, I think a lot of people feel lonely, to be fair, especially in this age of social media. Like, there's so many people, but at the same time, we're so disconnected. And especially for us intuitive types, it's hard to find people that are interested in the same things. But I'm trying to change that belief, like that limiting belief. I think that is a limiting belief because there are a bunch of you out there. And just to plug this in real quick, I have a men's community down in the link below. It's free. It's a Discord community. I have some resources there, and I'm expanding it as often as I can. And I have calls on Fridays with other dudes. So if you feel the same way I do, you could totally check that out. If you don't like it, you can leave. It's no obligation. Yeah, you can go ahead and check that out. Now, to continue with the summary of this video, like, loneliness, common, especially with certain personality types. That's okay too. It's not really real, like it is, but it's not. It's like this weird paradox. But we also have to put the effort into creating those relationships and not cutting it off, because people can feel that. People can definitely feel like you're distance, you're holding yourself together, and you have this wall. I know it takes courage to open up. I know. I've been there. I'm there sometimes, so I get it. And also the point, assume that people want to help you. It's been an amazing like experience to have that open up to me when most of my life didn't feel like that. I'm in my late 20s now. Well, I obviously know that because of my Saturn return. It feels like I'm living now, and I'm really starting to see the fruits of these relationships. Not that I didn't have them before. My perception is just different. My perception is different. My trust in myself is different. So trusting the self helps trust others, and vice versa. Others can feel when you don't trust yourself. Cultivating that is essential. It's not like we're gonna be perfect or heal, and that's the whole point of this video. Like, it's never gonna be. And yet, simultaneously, ironically, and paradoxically, it is perfect. It is. It just is. Like, the presence of being and just being in the now can be perfect. And that takes really sitting with it in silence and being okay with whatever is right now. Noticing the breath and enjoying the view. Like right now I have a beautiful view of this lake. It's glistening. I can hear the rustling of the ground squirrels behind me, the rustling of the leaves and the wind. This is why I'm making the video at 100-degree Fahrenheit video, because I felt called to say something without a script. Just say it, encourage people, even when it's difficult, even when we're questioning things. If this video has helped you out in any way, I invite you to subscribe and to like the video to try to push this out to as many people as possible. Also, I'd love to hear any comments, any thoughts you had, like comment below. Anything you related to this video, any of your personal experiences, if you're in your Saturn return, if you're like in the same boat as me, I was like, damn, I was feeling the same freaking thing, or if the law of assumption or assuming that people will help you, if you've tried that out, how that's worked out for you. And if you have any questions, go ahead and shoot me a question, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Check out the Discord community I have for men. It's not that I want to leave out women or anything like that. It's just that I notice a lack of healthy masculine spaces, especially online. We're inundated by really toxic forms of masculine. I don't really like saying toxic forms of masculine because it's not that it's not toxic, but I'm not really talking about like masculinity as a whole. It's more that there are shadow or dark aspects of the masculine that seems to dominate the conversation when the healthy masculine is out there, the divine masculine is out there. So I want to create a space that encourages that, where men can be men and feel safe in their masculine and feel safe in expressing themselves. And even if their shadow masculine has to come out, well, let's delve into it. Let's deal with it. Let's not suppress it. Let's not suppress our masculine desire, masculine drive. But at the same time, let's channel that into a healthy way, into a healthy expression of that masculinity. And that's why I've created a space for men. Thank you for watching this video. If this has called to you, I invite you to also check out any other videos. If the title grabs your attention, who knows, you might find a nugget here and there. I hope to see you in the community or in the next video.